Done.
Thank you.
Good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I appoint, well, I think George should introduce himself.
Yeah.
I think that's going out of turn, but thank you. I was sort of waiting to say something amazingly wonderful at the end because I don't have anything amazingly wonderful to say at this moment. But anyway, it's really, I'm very grateful for this recognition, and make sure you do it for Nasreen sometime real soon. Dottie was also in the pipe or in the pipeline, so that's good. And Amelia, she's the one with the 806 area code and no face. It's sorry, 860. It's really nice having you. And I think your sister was going to try and make it too. Let's see, it's just really wonderful being with all y'all like this because, of course, I don't get out much these days. And so it's so nice of you to come and visit with us, as it were. And Shada also brought over some of the most amazing food of various ilks earlier this evening. Just had sort of a little bit of each because I wanted to have enough of an appetite for the next bit. And it really was spectacular. So, so thanks very much for that. And thanks for the original idea of doing this. You know, this community has been super important to me for a long, long time. And, and I'm glad to have been here and been able to sort of partake of the fun things that Athens has to offer, and also be able to serve on the local spiritual assembly in various ways. So anyway, it's been a pleasure. I'm glad we found. I'm glad we ended up in Athens. I knew it was here before. Okay, let's see. Whom am I going to tap next? Ravi, you're it.
Hi, I'm Ravi. I have been in Athens since last November. Let's see. I guess I'll be learning a lot about George, who I don't really know very well, but getting to. So, let's see. I need to appoint someone, right?
Yeah. Especially if you're an auxiliary board.
Well, tell me who's left.
Amelia, Chaplain Cole, Reza. I'll think
pick Amelia since you said her name first. Amelia.
Okay, Amelia. She might
What am I supposed to do?
say hi and say wonderful things about everybody here on the screen.
Okay. Well, I'm a little lost because I can't see anyone, so I'm just hearing voices. But I can say wonderful things about my dad, which I guess is the point of this. But I didn't have anything prepared, but I love my dad very much, and I'm so glad to be able to be here and hear everybody else love my dad. And I wish I could see all of your faces. But yeah, I think that maybe that's all I'll say right now. There are stories that I didn't have anything prepared. I don't have anything witty and at my reach within my grasp right now. But yeah, so I'll hold off. Maybe I'll jump in later. But I'm really, really happy to be here. So thank you.
Thank you, Amelia.
Say someone else's name.
She doesn't know anyone.
Have the visuals.
Yeah, we already did Gail, you know her. Well.
Cole. I can hop in.
Yeah, Chaplain Cole.
Hey, everyone. My name's Chaplain Cole Napper, and I am super excited to be here. Woody and I, along with Sohail Moshto, just finished an 8-month-long fellowship with the Clinton Foundation for local faith leaders here in Athens, and substance abuse and opioid and substance abuse issues. So we've been in this cohort for a while, and we were able to deeply connect with each other in a short period of time. And so I'm incredibly thankful and very honored that you would allow me to be here with you today. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for being here.
You have to popcorn somebody.
Pick someone's name at random.
I'm so sorry. Yes. Who's left? Raise your hand if you're left. If you're still here. Hi, Molly. Hi. Great to see you. And then Arden. Okay, so Molly, you're next.
Okay. Hey, George. I popped in late. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry I missed everyone else's. So I'm not sure exactly what we're saying, but as far as I met George first when he was living in Washington, Georgia, and Solange was just a little girl. and that was a long time ago. And been in and out of Athens, but feel like I've known him since then. I mean, the whole time. And so I've been in Athens. That was around 1991, I guess. Is that when you lived in Washington? That's how long I've been in Athens. So
I think we were there then. Well, Solange was born in 94. And that was,
so that was okay. So I met you guys. I met Solange when then in 94.
95.
Yeah, 94, 95. When I
Yeah.
came back.
yeah.
Yeah. But I called Athens home since 1991, but in and out. So that's me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I could easily have met you here, before that, but
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember now.
for
It's too
us,
blurry. That's too long ago.
yeah. Athens and Augusta were civilization for us Washingtonians. And I preferred Athens. My then wife preferred Augusta. So here I am. That wasn't why we got divorced, but. Yeah.
So Artine, are you left? Did you go yet?
No, we haven't gone
All
yet. We're left. So my name is Artine, and we got to Athens. It's just about a year now, and so unfortunately we haven't had the privilege of knowing George very long, and we're glad to be able to partake in this event. So thanks everybody. And this is
Oh, I'm Julia. I'm his wife. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet everyone.
Also pronounced Yulia.
Yes.
Julia.
Yeah. Do you want to pick the next person?
Oh, is there sorry, who's left? Can they raise? Okay, Micah.
Hi, I'm Micah and Annie Janice.
Hi.
Lived in Athens several times over the last 20 years. Gotten to know George. Annie and I admire George for several reasons, which will become apparent during the presentation, not the least of which for his intellect and scholarship. But what Annie and I most enjoy is his sense of humor. It's right up there with the great senses of humor. Because with a sense of humor, you have laughter and joy, and that's right up there. So, and lately we've got to enjoy George's humor over dinner.
Mhm.
And I'm Annie, the wife, and yeah, we have been here on and off for 20 years. And I think I'm looking forward to hearing what Mina's going to share, but I've known George for, gosh, a very long time in many different ways, and the healing energies that George has always been a part of, I think are that's how I kind of met him and got to know him. And I think I'm looking forward to hearing about that more. Yes, all the different forms of healing, physical, spiritual, emotional.
That's a lot of forms of healing, by the way. Yeah, this could take the whole, but
Chiropractic and the energy work, both of those.
have we heard from Lois?
Oh,
You
then
want to
we'll
hear
call
from
on
me?
Lois.
Yes.
Sure.
I'm a friend of Sheeta's and I live in Winston-Salem. And I've been a Baha'i all my life.
Oh, excellent.
Nice.
Did you grow up there or did you move from somewhere else?
No, I moved from Wilmington, the coast of North Carolina, and I'm from Arlington, Virginia, which is just outside of DC.
Yeah.
And my parents were Baha'is there too.
Wow.
I'd like to add something to what she said. She is the 5th generation Baha'i. Am I right?
Really?
No, you're not right. Fourth.
4th generation Baha'i.
Oh, I know.
4th generation American Baha'i. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
my
I know
great
one.
grandparents lived in New York City, Mr. and Mrs. Hooper Harris, and they met Abdul Baha when he came to New York.
No, they wouldn't.
Mm,
Yeah.
what a blessing.
So I'm very,
Awesome.
very blessed. Very.
Sure.
By the way, do you know Austin Bowden Kirby? He's from Wilmington.
I do. I know him very well.
Yeah, he's a very good friend. He's been doing wonderful things for coral reefs and all kinds of stuff.
I have known him since he wore short pants.
Well, you know, he still does that sometimes.
Yeah, I know. He reverted back. Yes, I know Austin very well when he was very young.
Yeah.
And Kim.
Yeah, I think Austin should get some sort of Nobel Prize, but that's just.
I want to go
Yeah.
back to Artine and Julia. I have been looking forward to meeting you. I understand we are practically in the same neighborhood. You live off of Whitehead?
Yes, we live. So I'm pretty much directionally challenged. I leave all the direction stuff to Julia. Yeah, and up to and including, you know, the name of the street that we live on pretty much. But yeah, as far as I've come to understand, we do live. Yeah, the Whitehead is the one with the traffic circle at the end. Yeah.
Are you in Bowden Park?
No, we're good God.
Like
we're-
Daisy,
if you
flower.
go the other way from the traffic circle to the intersection on the other side where there's the gas station and the antique thing,
Yeah.
we live like maybe 600 meters before you get, no, about 400 meters before you get to the end there. There's the turn on to our street, which is called Bel Air.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not on Bel Air. We're on one
Gale.
we're on Gale. It comes off of Bel Air.
Okay, I know where that is. Okay.
Thank you. It was lovely to meet you.
It's very nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you.
Okay, so Homa and Reza. Tag, you're it. And then we got to get going.
Oh, we have
George
Juliet showed up too.
Julia's
Well-
here.
Juliet's here.
Julia just showed up.
Yay.
Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Friends, yes, go ahead.
Oh, hey, Juliet. Oh, that's a good picture too. That's great. Your stairs look very attractive. I like them.
Thank you. It's my face. It's not a picture. Oh, you mean this right here?
The stairs behind you. Yeah. But your face looks very attractive too. Comme toujours.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, you muted yourself.
Am I supposed to speak?
Of course.
What am I saying?
Well, a quick autobiography, you know.
Okay.
Just introducing
Name-
yourself. That's
Name
all.
where you are, how long you've known George.
Okay. So I've known
It's
known
been
him
a
my whole
while.
life. I live up in Montreal. I'm really happy you guys are doing this and I can come and join. It's a great opportunity for me to just hear more about Dad. I think it's wonderful he's getting honored. And I'm up here with my kids and my husband, and they're just cleaning up from dinner, so they'll join soon.
Good.
It's a pleasure to see everybody.
Very nice.
Nice to meet you. Okay, my name is Homa, and I am a member of the Baha'i community, Baha'i faith. With my family, we came to Athens the first time in 2011. And we met George at the 19-day feast that we had at Mindy's house. And then we have served several times at the local institution, the local spiritual assembly, and in other committees and task forces. So I'm very delightful to be here.
Here's Solange, by the way. Welcome, Solange. I'm glad.
Hi there.
Hi, Solange.
Hello, Sohail.
Hey, Solange. Hi, Solange.
Where are you, Molly?
Hi.
Hi, Solange.
Okay, Solange is my youngest daughter. That's what you were wondering. Okay, let's see.
Reza, I
Did we
popcorn
hear from
Reza.
Reza? I don't think we heard from Reza.
All right, my name is Reza Mokari. As Homa mentioned, we moved to Athens 2011, and it was a great honor and pleasure to hear from George. At the time, George Lord was the secretary of the local spiritual assembly, and he was the mouthpiece of the Athens Baha'i community. So every time we talk about, Athens, first time we moved, George Lord. And also another impression, as Homa mentioned, the first gathering we attended in Athens Baha'i community was the feast. And George Lord was the secretary of the assembly. I was very impressed, not me, myself, my family, all of us were impressed with advanced technological secretary of the assembly. He had his iPad, the stand, and the way he presented, we were very impressed. So of course, that's George Lord. And of course, as Homa mentioned, it was a great honor and pleasure to serve with George different years in local, the governing body of the Athens Baha'i community. And as some of friends mentioned, the sense of humor. George Lord has very unique sense of humor. Sometimes you have to distinguish, is he joking or not joking? So that's a great honor to know George. He's a great man.
That's the main influence. By the way, I'm not the first person who was secretary and showed up with a tablet computer. That honor goes to Sohail. And I never found out what kind of tablet it was. Asked him what it was, and he said, a computer. But that particular kind didn't really catch on, but he was certainly the first one. Because he used to live here in Athens, as opposed to Oconee County, where he is now. And he served as secretary here for several years before.
Wow.
Okay.
Hey, wait a minute, I lost.
What's going on?
What's going on here?
Oh, let's go skiing.
Oh.
Oh, pictures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Solange didn't introduce herself.
Oh, yeah. So, Lance, do you want to say more?
I'd like to introduce myself, please.
Yeah, please do.
Yes.
Please do.
Good evening. I'm Solange Lord, and I'm the youngest daughter of my dad, George, You've been serving me for 26 years, and for the Athens Baha'i community, he has taught me so much day by day, and many memories to, let's say, remember.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I was going to say to you, congrats on becoming an honoree for the Baha'i community. What does honoree mean?
What does honoree mean? It means that you know I'm getting old and I used to serve on the LSA.
Okay, got
Honoring you for the years and years of service.
That's right.
Service, yes.
All right. So I am going to go ahead and get started if that's okay with everybody. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes, wonderful.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. All right, George, I want you to just jump in whenever you want. And, you know, anybody can really jump in. This isn't, you know, super formal. I'm very happy to be able to do this via Zoom because we have so many people that can attend. So this is fantastic.
Well, first of all,
George,
Trumbull College is at Yale. It's a residential college at Yale,
Okay,
Yeah.
very good.
just so you know.
So you were born in New Haven on April 24th, 1951.
I remember it well.
George grew up and in and around Yale, and his dad was the master of Trumbull College, and they lived in that house on campus. It was a very pleasant area. It was walkable, and one could get to the countryside quite quickly. Connecticut is an ancestral land for his family. George has an appreciation of language and a thirst for knowledge. He really likes the pizza from there. And he would often visit the museum that was 2 blocks away from their house. Being born of means was sometimes a challenge for George. He felt like he was different from a lot of the kids, and sometimes he had trouble connecting. George learned French in elementary school, and his parents actually spoke French at home. And they took the family to Paris a few times. Go ahead.
And
What were you gonna
elsewhere
say,
in
George?
France. Yeah, rural France also, as much as Paris. But yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He had a lot of influences, including James Bond. He was a big influence, who was very suave and debonair and spoke many languages.
Right.
You went away to Wallingford Choate boarding school.
Yeah, it's
which,
the Choate School in Wallingford, Connecticut. Yeah. Wallingford,
okay.
for the name. Yeah, but that's right. That's actually where JFK went to school. Just so you know, it's how Tony it is.
And did you go together?
Yes.
So it's
No,
quite
not
normal
quite. Not quite.
for
Where are
people
you,
in your
Dad, in the
family.
picture?
Sorry?
Where
Oh.
are you, Dad, in the picture on the right?
I'm the person on the right in the picture on the right. Actually, I'm on the right in both of the pictures.
Okay, you're
The picture on the
next
right
to
is taken
Henry?
in Fisher's Island.
He's
You're
next to Henry.
on the second picture on the right.
Yes, he's next to Henry.
Henry's
Okay.
in the middle. Yeah. Yep. And being swaddled by our mother in the picture on the left. And Pauline is on the left.
You kind of look like James Bond in that picture on the ground.
Yeah. Oh, maybe so. By the way, I keep wanting to tell this story in the obit, but you'll now. Dad was master of Trumbull College for maybe, I don't know, 8 or 10 years maybe. And it was during that time that I started going away to school at Choate. But while I was still there, Dad and I were crossing the courtyard from his office. And I guess we must have been going back to the master's house. And here was a man who looked and sounded Russian. He was wearing a Russian lambskin cap. And Dad said, "Oh, Woody, I'd like you to meet Firuz Kazemzadeh." You know, he's a history professor. And it turns out that they practically shared an office. And I thought, well, I have never heard a name like that. Yeah. But the accent at least sounds Russian. So I kind of stored that away. Years later, in St. Louis, the biggest to date Baha'i gathering that ever happened in the world was going on, and the Baha'is were eating my restaurant out of house and home. And I had really liked the Baha'is. And so I went to the meeting when there was, you know, we ran out of food. There was a public meeting. And I went there and I was really impressed by these, you know, scads of wonderful people. So I started really looking into the Baha'i faith and reading articles, you know, written about the Baha'is in the local papers. And I knew these were very hard-nosed, cynical reporters, but they all had nice, very nice things to say about the Baha'is. But a name that kept coming up in their articles was Firuz Kazemzadeh. I said, but there can't be two Yale professors named Firuz Kazemzadeh, you know? So I called my mother and said, the Baha'is are here in town and Firuz is their leader. She said, well, you should call him. I said, well, I mean, he's an important guy. So I figured he was in a hotel. He could have been in 2 other hotels, but he was in fact in the hotel near the restaurant. And I got right through to talk to his wife, who said, oh, Firuz will be so sorry that he wasn't here, but next time in New Haven, would he please look us up? And so I did. And so he was, you know, he was a very important Baha'i even back then and became a real father figure to me. But I had first met him there on a snowy morning in Trumbull College. Okay, moving right along.
So you have 2 living siblings. One has been in the next world for a long time. Your sister is Pauline Lord. She's 1 year older, and your brother is Henry DuPont Lord, and he's 4.5 years younger. Another tricky challenge that the family had was navigating, you know, when people had their hands out once they knew kind of the family name. And so at boarding school, George went on to have a strong political phase. He was required to go to Episcopal chapel every day, which he experienced as more social than religious. And at first he decided he didn't believe in God, but then he changed his mind. The events that primed him to begin his spiritual search happened his first year of college. There were the shootings at Kent and Jackson State. He was demonstrating and marching. He wanted to stop the war and to protest against racism. The whole country deeply took notice. But yet 2 or 3 weeks later, when 2 Black students were shot in Mississippi, the news didn't make a splash on the, you know, news. And that was very sobering to him. So as George said, he and his friends started the Sunshine Inn vegetarian restaurant. He took a lot of yoga classes with a middle-aged man. He looked into Hinduism and Buddhism. He joined a Presbyterian church in Clayton, Missouri. He looked into Sufism, then Islam, and he thought to himself, they're all clearly from the same God. Too bad there's so much competition between them. And he also didn't like that a lot of them had a problem with science. And so let's see if I can do the next one. George was introduced to the Baha'i faith at the St. Louis conference that fall. Many Baha'is frequented his restaurant and he was attracted to the way they spoke, the diversity, the dignity, the spirituality that didn't vaunt itself. So as he said, on that Friday night, they ran out of food and he decided to attend a big public meeting that the Baha'is were hosting downtown. But before he left, it seems that one of the Baha'is had written graffiti in their bathroom,
Yes.
"Earth is but one country and mankind its citizens."
Yeah, very
So
appropriate.
yeah, he felt like the crowd was positive but not pushy. And he ended up talking to a Baha'i guy for 45 minutes. And after a while, he got bored, but then he surprisingly got interested again. And what was really cool about that conference, the Hand of the Cause of God, William Sears was there. One of the unexplained miracles that George attributes to becoming a Baha'i is he remembers reading a futuristic novel. And in it, the author had said that in the future, the vast majority of people in the world will be Baha'i. But later, after he declared, he searched for it from cover to cover, and he never found that line in that book. Right, right. And so I won't say anything more about Firuz. Certainly was a huge influence. The other kind of coincidental thing that happened was another connection that seemed amazing is your dad brought in a fellow at Trumbull College named John Daniels, who was a Black man, and he became the first Black mayor of New Haven, and his wife was also a Baha'i. So George started going to Monday firesides in North St. Louis area, and the area that he went was mostly Black. So when he went to his first fireside, there were 17 people, maybe 17 Black people, maybe a Persian or two, and maybe 2 white people. So he kind of was tense for a second, but then he decided, he settled in, and it was a very welcoming feeling there at Miss Arlene Lee's house, who was a sweet old lady who hosted these events. So one of the big challenges that George had was kind of his belief in reincarnation. So Miss Lee gave him 2 books. One was A Thief in the Night and Baha'u'llah in the New Era. He read Baha'u'llah in the New Era and wasn't as moved as he thought he might, and except one Monday in the morning, he was praying to Jesus and he heard a voice that said, "Read A Thief in the Night." And it was during reading this book that he declared his faith in Baha'u'llah and became a Baha'i. He later visited the House of Worship.
Prophecy. Yeah, it's about biblical prophecy, and Baha'u'llah in the New Era is more a work of history and nuts and bolts, how the Baha'i faith works and stuff. But I had never been interested in biblical prophecy till I heard William Sears at the St. Louis conference. He was the author of the book, and I think thousands of people became Baha'is because of that book. Yeah, go ahead. You're doing great.
Thanks. He visited the House of Worship in Wilmette and went to the Cornerstone Room. So not long after declaring in December 1974, that next Rezvan, I think you moved from St. Louis down to Georgia.
Well, not quite. I was actually elected to the LSA at
that's right.
At Rezvan, and it was a few months later that I moved down to Georgia. Yeah, but close. And there's the aforementioned uplift.
Right. You drove to Wilmette with Zikrullah Qadem, Hand of the Cause of God, appointed by Shoghi Effendi. And
No,
at
I
this,
didn't drive there with him. He was there.
he was there, okay. And then Amatul Ruhia Khanum was there, who's the wife of Shoghi Effendi, who's the guardian of the Baha'i faith, and Dr. Mohajer, the Hand of the Cause of God, Knight of Baha'u'llah, were all there. And there, Dr. Mohajer urged French speakers to travel to French-speaking countries. And so it looks like you thought about traveling to Central and West Africa in 1976, Brussels, Paris, and Switzerland. Is that true?
Well, the what is it, international goals or whatever, the national office that deals with pioneers and national traveling teachers, they suggested that I go to what was then Zaire, to Ivory Coast, or they like to call it Côte d'Ivoire, Upper Volta, or what is now Burkina Faso. Almost all these places have changed their names, plus Mali. Thank you, Sheeta. But because of certain things that happened back home, I cut the trip a bit short and didn't go to Mali. But and I got a bit sick, and that's one of the reasons why I went to Europe in the middle of all that. But there was a big Paris conference, sort of like the one in St. Louis that was going on, and several other follow-up conferences, after that. So it was a good place to be that particular summer of '76. So, and then after a while in Europe, I went back to Africa.
And you went to the youth conference in Burkina Faso for the opening of
that was in Abidjan. Oh, opening of the National Center in Burkina Faso, and the youth conference in Abidjan, which is it's not the capital anymore, but it's the main city in Côte d'Ivoire.
You got to do some interpreting for Enoch Olinga, who is the only African hand of the cause of God.
On the
And
picture on the right, I was
Sorry,
wondering, was that Provi on the right?
It is.
Who's this person in the middle next
Amatul
to you?
Ruhia Khanum, Hand of the Cause of God, Ruhia Khanum.
That was Provi holding Juliet?
Yeah, Provi holding Juliet, and Ruhia Khanum with her fingers on Amelia's shoulders. Then there's Michael, or back then he was Miguel, with me.
Mm-hmm. You looked young in that picture on the left.
Yeah,
In front.
I don't know.
On
There
the
must be a
upper
reason
left-hand.
for that. Yeah, I'm sure there's some reason. We'll figure out why I looked young.
I cannot imagine George with those big mustaches. And the hairdo.
Thinking the same thing, but William Sears has the mustache, so I think he had to have it too.
Oh yeah. And William Sears spoke English, so I had to learn English, sort of like with James Bond.
do any of your girls want to add a little something while we're on this slide?
Yeah, Amelia, Juliet, are you there?
Have you seen these pictures? I guess it's been a while.
I've definitely seen them. I didn't see the one with Bill Sears though. And just a minute, Max. Okay. But yeah, I was just trying to point out to my kids who everyone is in the photos, but it's so fun to see these old photos of Dad and to like watch the full story, you know, from the beginning.
And that must be in Batterwood in Canada. You know, and if you didn't, if Mr. Sears were not there, I would think it was in East Lyme at my, you know, what was my mother's farmhouse, if you will. But Batterwood, I think, must have had doors and stuff like that. And he lived there a lot. You know, that was his kind of getaway in Ontario. Picture on the bottom and picture on the right were taken in Haiti. And so one at the kids' school, Amelia and Miguel's school. And the other one is probably somewhere near the National Center, but I don't recognize the exact spot.
I'm trying to figure which picture was that on the lower left-hand corner. Where was that?
That was at a school in Haiti, in Pétion,
Okay,
where Miguel or Michael and Amelia went to school.
okay. That was during Christmas?
It probably was around Christmas time, yeah.
Okay.
Looks like it.
So George has been married 3 times and he has 4 kids. He adopted Michael, who was Provy's son. He and let's see, they had Amelia and Juliet, and then he married Sharon. And then that's how Solange came into the world. And I'm so excited. You know, I was Solange's children's class teacher for a minute.
Yes, you were.
So it's really cool to be with you guys today. So next one. Here we go. Here's some more pictures. Look at Solange. So could you explain the picture on the right, George?
Oh, yeah. That was, I think, Gail, wasn't that around the time when Amelia and Charlie celebrated their first anniversary? Yeah. Okay. Well, Amelia was married for a time, which helps to explain her son's existence. And they had sort of eloped. Of course, they had everyone's consent, but then, you know, they eloped in a very sort of pre-planned way. And so this was a chance for a whole bunch of their friends to come. And,
This was the dinner that we had for the family. Thank you for all of the family.
oh, okay.
At
Well,
that
Gail,
restaurant
you
in,
remember that better than I do.
It was a restaurant in, I'm not sure what town it was. I think it was over in
Westerly.
Westerly.
Westerly, Rhode Island, just barely inside the state line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's Henry, Woody, and Pauline.
Right. But one of my favorite pictures from this it's not in there, and I have that on my desk, and that's Amelia, who maybe she'll be in another one of these pictures, but it was really, she looked particularly great that evening. Top left picture.
Thanks, Dad.
That was either taken in East Lyme or in Florida.
It's in Florida.
It's in Florida. Okay, Boca Grande, Florida. That's my mother, of course, on the left. And Juliet and Solange. And Juliet, I guess that's Pele, right?
That's Pele.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Juliet's eldest.
Look at Grana.
Look at Grana. Yeah, she was in pretty fine fettle still then.
George, what was your mom's name?
It was Ruth Ellen DuPont Lord.
Okay.
And of those DuPonts, you know, big surprise to y'all. Yeah. So, yeah, she was a great lady in her own way. I didn't realize until she had died and we heard some stories about how she had helped out people, that she was a spiritual giant in her own way. That I had not thought of her in those terms until her funeral. But she was. But she was, you know, she was an atheist and really not terribly interested in, certainly not interested in the Baha'i faith. So anyway, moving right along.
Okay. So George and Gail met in Roswell after he had taken a grueling couple of courses in lymph drainage. He needed someone to practice with. And he asked if there was a practitioner who his teacher, I guess Robert, knew might be interested. And so he called Gail up and wanted to get together. And they met and practiced with each other. And every time George would take a new course, Gail would coach him. And they were colleagues and then friends. And then 4 years later, they decided that they wanted to explore being more than close friends. And this is the result. Aren't they so cute? What's this first picture, Gail? Where are you?
The first picture here, we are
Yes.
on pilgrimage. That
Yeah.
is a mosque in Akka.
Oh, okay.
And so that was during our pilgrimage to Haifa.
I got to dust off my Arabic just a little bit during that trip, you know, and a very nice guy in there welcomed us in Arabic, of course. And when a certain amount of payment was expected, or was, I think it was maybe actually posted somewhere. And so, okay, well, that's not a lot of money. So, and I think it was in that mosque that the ban was read about not associating with Baha'u'llah or the Baha'is. So, you know, they were brought there as prisoners, and the townspeople were told they're very, very dangerous people who've just been, you know, brought to Akka, and they're here because it's a prison city, of course. And you good local Muslims are to have nothing to do with them. Well, that didn't last very long. You know, people could tell, you know, from their own experience that that was not the case at all. But, you know, there's just one Baha'i faith in the world. And there have been various little movements, you know, sort of breaking off from it, but they've never gone anywhere. Each founder of a separatist movement just ended up, you know, when they died, that was the end of the movement. So, you know, we still just have one Baha'i faith, and there's strong safeguards about that. Well, when Baha'u'llah was first there were some of these covenant breakers, we call them, who would look at the land gate and see who was approaching. And if they looked Persian, and especially if they looked clean, you know, chances were that they were Baha'is. And so they tended to be turned away. So it was very, very hard to go and see Baha'u'llah for a long time there in the prison city. And then for various reasons, conditions got easier over time, but it was very difficult for a while. Okay, and I don't know how to shut myself off. I'm interested in something, and I think maybe you all might be interested, maybe not. So I'll err on the side of assuming that you are.
It was awesome. That was a good talk. Good facts.
Oh, thank you, Molly.
And I remember, Gail, if you remember, you brought me a scarf from Akka, and I had it on all the time until on one of my trips in New York, somebody was so cold and shivering. I said, well, would you like to have this scarf? So it went to a very good service project, and she was very appreciative. But do you remember you brought me that scarf?
I do remember.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Abdul Baha would have been happy.
I know. Yeah.
So
Here, look different, Gail, with red scarf. Did he cut it?
my hair was very short. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah, it was.
I had a friend had cancer and had to cut her hair. And so I cut my hair too. And when I did, I found out my hair was silver. And I did that shortly before we took this trip. So my hair was just really, really short.
All right. Then
That was nice
we'll
of
let
you.
your hair grow back.
It grew, yeah, look how long it is. It grew right back. Yeah. So this is at our home here in Athens, and this was from our trip to France.
Oh, yeah.
We were in a cafe having lunch with Henry.
That was 2 years ago.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was.
So
Yeah, Amelia, you
want
want
to
to
talk a
say
little
something?
bit? Oh, sorry.
Looks like Amelia, I see her phone number highlighted for a second. No, I don't. Okay.
Okay. I'm just
Okay,
gonna talk a little bit about the service that George has done. He's, like he said, he was a secretary to the LSA in Athens for many years. He's been an assistant to the auxiliary board member. He's edited quite a few books. He's done Ruhi translations. He's been on the Campus Ministry Association. He's on various committees throughout the years. He's been our public relations officer. He's hosted various deepenings, Ruhi books and devotionals. He, Gail, Mindy, and the Leaves, I think, prepared a comprehensive introductory class for Ollie, which is based the UGA campus, Athens, Georgia. It's learning and retirement. George feels that his most significant service is really being attached to the covenant and the dignity of the institutions. When he reads the writings of the Guardian, he feels clear that this faith is the only hope for unifying mankind. And he feels strongly that the success depends heavily on people honoring the covenant and the institutions. And even if, you know, he or other people decide that something that the LSA is doing is a mistake, it's still the decision of the local spiritual assembly. And he feels like one of his, you know, gifts that he's given is trying to maintain a positive attitude towards the institution and, you know, cautions folks about getting caught up in different personalities. He feels like he was a pretty good writer and was a pretty rational and reasonable person when it came to consulting. And he felt like over the years, he became better at kind of quoting the writings rather than interjecting his own views. He cares very deeply for his chosen faith. Being able to work on Ruhi materials in Haiti and here in the States has been a great blessing of his life. I guess it was his friend Cami who told him that the Ruhi books that he translated maybe in French, became the basis of Ruhi books throughout the French-speaking world.
That was Laurence.
Right.
Her last name is Camille, C-A-M-I-L-L-E. She's Haitian. Her first name is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
So the only
and
dream.
yeah, well, Nasreen, let me just say a little bit more. This picture on the right and the other pictures that were taken about that same time, I'm really proud to have them because, among other things, you know, when I speak to other people in the interfaith clergy group, you know, every once in a while I might show them a picture like that. And this is not a staged photo, you know. We didn't say, well, we need 2 Black guys and, you know, 2 Persians and maybe a Hispanic or so. You know, these are all people who work full time at the National Baha'i Center or serve on the National Spiritual Assembly or did then, you know.
Humphrey Mitchell.
Also several of us from Athens. So just behind me and to the right is Ken Bowers, who turned 21 in this fair city as he was a student at UGA. And he was immediately elected to the local spiritual assembly, not long after, or not almost immediately elected secretary, which of course was a job I filled for a while. thereafter. But for many years, he's been serving as the secretary of the National Spirituals, and doing just a really phenomenal job as far as I'm concerned. So I'm just super proud of him, and I'm super proud of all the people, serving on the national level, and very happy to be serving with a very diverse group of folks here in Athens. In the picture on the left, the person on the left is Howard Lieb. And I think, someone mentioned the Liebs. They live over close to, well, those of you who know who Ray is, probably already knew the Liebs, but not far from here, and even closer to Nasreen, who's just over my left shoulder. They were real mainstays of the Baha'i community for a long time until, and then Howard moved to Atlanta, and I don't remember if it was in Atlanta or when he was living closer to his daughter. Gail, help me with the name, in Covington. What's
Debbie.
Debbie.
Yeah, but Ruthie is buried right here in Athens in the same cemetery where I will be buried. And Howard is buried in Covington. So anyway, but we're a diverse bunch, and it's a wonderful thing.
And remember, you and Gail, Ruth and Howard and I, we would get together depending on Christianity was. Remember those CDs you had? Or maybe the Leaps had it? And
they
Oh,
did,
the
yeah.
Leaps had it. Yes, they had.
Yeah. That was about.
Yeah, yes, we did. Yep.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a very good scholar. He was also an atheist, the guy who was teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still highly respected. He's in North Carolina, I think.
That's right. That's right. I want to just share a story about Gail now. As I said, the five of us would get together maybe once a week, and then maybe the very first time they were over here and we had dinner together. Afterwards, I brought some Baha'i books to read. Gail had not declared yet. Remember that, Gail? Yeah. And so Gail picked up the gleanings of the writings of Baha'u'llah. And she had some question in her mind about the soul and its, advancement in the next world. Am I correct or not? Then she opened. I just gave everybody a book and I said, just open and see what is it for us to read. And Gail opened and it came to the page that said, regarding your question about the soul. And I don't know if you remember it, Gail, or not, but it was exactly what she had in mind. And anyhow, then later on she declared, I don't know, months after that.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So George knows a million languages, right? French, German, English, Creole, Spanish, smatterings of Persian, Greek, Latin, Arabic, Portuguese, Romanian. So lots, his brain works that way. And he, he studied lymph drainage from, I guess, two main people, Bruno Chickley and okay, and a lady, which I'm trying to find her name.
Oh, what was her name, Gail? From Germany.
Oh, gosh. Hildegard of Ittlinger.
That's it.
Yep. Okay. So he's been busy being a chiropractor and then doing lymph drainage and then also body talk.
And visceral manipulation and various other things. I came up with 2 or 3 techniques of my own. So it's been another outlet for creativity, you know.
And here they are in action.
Sometimes people even get better.
With all of the longing to kind of have connection and have a place. You said, George, that one of the places you really feel at home is Haifa, Israel. He's been on pilgrimage 3 times, and there he is at one of those times. Here on the right, it looks like a family that used to live here, right?
Yeah, the Griggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus Laurence. That's my
and
friend Laurence.
Gabby and Laurence.
Yeah.
Gabby was at the World Center, so yeah.
And there's some Paul.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm. They came and stayed for a couple of days. It was lots
I
of fun.
forgot this. Yeah.
There's our crew down below. I don't know what we're doing here, but
Looks like a unit convention.
Unit convention.
Yeah,
okay.
Mindy's back there.
There's Mindy, there's me, there's George.
And there's Jessica.
Jessica.
Right. Sorry, I don't know why I did that, but anyway.
It's
so
okay.
I'm gonna.
And Kay.
I'm gonna.
Kay's there.
And Kay, yeah, there's Kay.
So since getting sick, the lesson that George has learned is that dying doesn't have to be a lonely experience, that it can be a time of connecting more deeply and in a more satisfactory way. He's not afraid of death. In some ways, he's looking forward to it. He feels more constructive when he can participate in household responsibilities. He misses driving, however, and he would have expected that he would go a little stir crazy at home, but that hasn't been the case. And the big takeaway is that he's learned is that he's more loved than he ever thought possible. He started a deepening recently. God passes by, and he's very pleased now to have some time. He started it 30 years ago, and now he has time to really sink into it and sink his teeth into it. Many people today have talked about George's sense of humor. I asked him about it, and he said that his dad had a pretty good sense of humor, and he always liked things that were funny. And when he was little, by accident, his eye got scratched with a pencil. And so he had to sit in a dark room for several days, and his mom went and got him a record player. And several records that he listened to were comedy albums. One was about the Kennedy family, and one was about Buddy Hackett. He loved Mad Magazine, and he loved that dry New England sense of humor. He learned to tell stories in a Maine accent, and humor and making people laugh was a really great way to really connect with folks. He'd often listen to the Firesign Theater radio plays, and if he's up for it, maybe he can recite a Nick Danger Third Eye for us now.
I think I'm more into or more ready to tell a story from Maine. I haven't picked out at this very millisecond.
Okay.
I mean, the way that the thing about Nick Danger begins is it feels really corny to me, but here goes. And I'll try and stop, within a reasonable time. Except hang on, keep talking, I need to take a dry mouth lozenge.
Let's talk about what we see here. Dale?
All right, I'll take over. Top left is lovely Amelia and Woody and me here when she came to visit this spring. In the middle is Woody at the Eiffel Tower when we took our trip to France a couple of years ago. On the right is, you can see me in the picture in the window taking the picture, my son Colin. On the left is my granddaughter Brooke, and on the right is my grandson Brendan and Colin's dog Rocky, who has become a fixture. Everybody loves Rocky. And then at the bottom is, we had a lovely evening. We grilled, we didn't grill, Micah and Ravi grilled. Fantastic meal.
That's great.
So that's Micah and Annie, and Ravi is on the right, me and Woody in the middle. And that was, we had a lot of fun. We need to do it again.
Yeah, that was lots of fun. Sounds like that.
The food was delicious. Micah is an amazing cook.
Yes,
And
indeed, that
Ravi's
is so.
pretty skilled at the grill. So it was great.
Yeah, Ravi he's just full of surprises and creativity.
Yeah.
Came up with a really wonderful way of kind of bringing Mr. Olinga to life at a summer camp. And that was very interesting to hear about, since I guess I'm the first person that you've met who actually knew Mr. Olinga somewhat. Because he was the youngest of the Hands of the Cause, and he died very young because he was murdered. It's a hugely tragic story. I wish I could say that he was killed for the faith, but I don't think that there's enough evidence one way or the other. But he was a wonderful person. But anyway, let me tell you the story about Mr. Olinga, though. And, okay.
And Maine. Don't forget the Maine story.
I won't. Maybe I'll tell it with a Maine accent. Yeah, I think that's a good compromise. No. Going to sound much like Mr. Olinga, though, I'm afraid. At the Abidjan Youth Conference in '76, he was speaking to this whole large crowd of maybe 2,000 or 3,000 youth, mostly. It was really fun being there, I must say. Well, anyway, he was talking about an encounter he had with the Guardian, Shoghi Effendi. And he had already traveled around Africa a lot. He had met a lot of Persian pioneers and Arab pioneers. And of course, like any deep in Baha'i, he knew that the original writings were in Arabic and Persian. And people would say, oh, it would be so great if you learned Persian, or it would be so great if you learned Arabic. And he agreed. He really wanted to learn one or the other, but he wanted to learn the easier of the two. So he'd ask these Baha'is, well, which is easier? And not very surprisingly, the person said Persian was, and the Arab said Arabic was. So that didn't really resolve his question, but he was on pilgrimage with Shoghi Effendi, of course, and I guess other Hands of the Cause and various people. But at one point, he and the Guardian were alone in a garden. He said, I had a very Persian attitude toward the Guardian. I never spoke unless I was spoken to, and I always walked several paces behind. So the Guardian was walking, I was walking behind him. He stopped, turned around. I walked behind him again. Stopped, turned around and said, Enoch, what languages do you speak? He said, well, I speak some English, I speak some Swahili, I speak some this, I speak some that. Probably, total of 3 African languages. Guardian said, oh, that's very good. Resumed walking. Stopped, turned around and said, Persian is easier than Arabic.
Wow.
Unasked.
Wow.
I've told them many times, and I've never heard anyone else who had heard that. But I love that story. Okay, now for something frivolous. Los Angeles, he walks again by night, out of the fog into the smog, ruthlessly, I wonder where Ruth is, doggedly, woof, woof, toward his weekly meeting with the unknown. At Drucker and Fourth, he turns left. At Fourth and Drucker, he turns right. He crosses MacArthur Park and walks into a great sandstone building. Oh, my nose. Climbing the 13 steps to his office. He's, and you hear the phone ring while he's going up there. He's ready for anything. He's ready for adventure. He's ready for, you know, similar things. And he picks up the phone. Nick Danger, Third Eye. Hi, I'd like a pizza to go and no anchovies. No anchovies. You've got the wrong man. I spell my name Danger. What? And so that's the beginning of Nick Danger, Third Eye. The things can be really funny. I think I'll stop there for now. Maybe I'll tell something from Maine later on. Moving right along. Oh, well.
I love Fireside.
No, I'll tell another one. I don't know if Gail.
Who's talking? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, George,
Yeah.
this is Sheeta.
Hi, Sheeta.
Yeah, I want to thank you for allowing us to learn more about your life, because I didn't know anything about you. And as you know, I have only met you one time. And for you to allow us to do this, I just don't know how to thank you. It's been so wonderful to learn all this beautiful stuff about you. And I want to thank everybody that participated in this gathering. And most of all, what's that? Yes, I will. And most of all, I want to thank Minu for doing this for all of us. So she wants me to hand this to Dottie right now. Everybody give a big hand for Minu doing this.
And Sheeta, thank you so much. It was Sheeta's idea to begin with.
And Sheeta,
okay.
thank you for the food.
Yeah,
You
that was wonderful.
are quite welcome. And Nasreen, they told me to let you know a lot of your dishes are over there.
Oh, we're back together, Nasreen.
Yeah.
that's okay.
So if you haven't been able to cook anything, that's why.
Yeah, Dottie, you have the floor.
Okay, can you do a share screen also? I'd like to show some pictures if you can disable the participant sharing so I can.
Certainly.
But okay, George, I have something that I'm going to be bringing out to you. I want to explain what it is. Okay,
yeah.
This is a prayer quilt, and I'll show pictures so you can see it a little bit better. But I wanted you to see the real thing. This path, I'm going to put it on. Okay, this is yours, but I'm demonstrating it. Okay, a couple months ago, we started a little project in the community to create these prayer quilts, and the idea is that they can provide both spiritual and material comfort for people who are in need of that for many reasons. Mostly, ill health is certainly one obvious one, but others, and so. What I've done, I'll show you the pictures of it, but what I did to start the project was to hand out squares that look like this, these just blank pieces of material, and ask people to write on it a prayer, a healing prayer, or words of healing, and to say a healing prayer while they're doing it, and then to draw pictures or to make it artistic. So it was a way of using our artistic abilities and creativity to create something that can be of comfort to people in our community who might need that. And so we had a wonderful response. We did the first one. We were able to give to Jack. But the second one we decided is for you. So let me show you, since now I will bring this over to your house and give it to you personally. So I'll have a real presentation, but I thought we would do it tonight as part of this as well. So let me show you these.
You're on.
Okay. Oh. Here we go. So here's this is just from the writings, all effort and exertion put forth by man from the fullness of his heart is worship, if it is prompted by the highest motives and the will to do service to humanity. So this is a service project of our community. So here's the quilt. This is the same thing, just two pictures of it to give you the kind of the overview. And each of these was a separate. I'm going to show you each of them too. But each of these is a separate square with a prayer or prayer picture written on it by a member of our community. And I work with a very talented quilter who helped me put this together and, sew all the pieces in and do the wonderful quilting on it as well. So I think it's a little bit more of a close up here. You can see she did this fancy work here. I sewed this stuff together, but she did, she did the work. Let's see, here's another one. Yeah, you can see each of the squares, you'll be able to examine it better when you have it in person, but each of the squares has a little bit different design on it.
Wow.
So I wanted to, let's see. Oh, yes, and there's on the back, this is the back of it, and it says this is lovingly created by your friends in the Athens Baha'i community. You are in our prayers. So it's a constant reminder, whether you have it on your shoulder or on your lap or wherever you have it, it'll be a constant reminder when we say you are in our prayers. This is kind of the material expression of that with lots of creativity. Yes, this is what it looks like. Okay, and now these are the people some people here will probably recognize them. I can't tell you who did each one because I don't remember, but these are the actual prayer squares. I took a picture of each one so you could see. Nasreen, you might be able to tell us. This is
So that's probably Shalom up top.
It's in 3 different languages.
Yeah, so Hebrew, Arabic, and English.
That's it. Okay, all right. Yeah.
And Bree did this, a friend of the faith.
That's right. Okay.
That's beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll be able to to see these, but these are the 16 prayer squares that make up this quilt. So this is another one. Purge me with the waters of thy bounty from affliction and disorder. This one's, I can't read it sideways, but there are sayings here as well.
And Andrea, another friend of the faith, did that one on the right.
Okay.
Very nice.
Rock and soil are gifts and nourish me. Yeah. Okay, so these are, it's another one. Might have been Homa's. Thy name is my healing. Praying for you. Name is my healing. You'll have to translate those. Okay.
Yeah.
And this
is. Wait. What was the
oh,
previous one? Is
sorry.
that Arabic or Persian?
Yeah, Arabic. اسمه كشفاء.
And say more about that, please.
وذكرك دواء.
Okay. That's not meaning a lot to me yet. Oh, okay.
Can you tell him more about that, Nasreen?
I think Amri did that.
Oh, is this one of Amri's? Oh, it could be.
Yeah.
That could be. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Here's some more. Grief can be the garden of compassion. If you keep your heart open through everything, your pain can become your greatest ally in your life's search for love and wisdom. Rumi. And so.
And Andrea did that.
You did that. Yeah.
A friend of the faith.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay.
And the one on the right is in Persian. And it is one of my very inspiring piece of art.
Well, it's your piece of art here. Okay.
Okay.
So many talents in our community, you can see. Okay.
So yeah, and also this one on the right again is mine, and the other one is Bree. I think we did 6 or 7 of them with Bree and Andrea. And of course, George, you were in our prayers as we were doing this, although they didn't know you, but they decided to pick up I said, pick up something from the Bible, but they preferred to do it from Baha'i prayers. And the one on the left, it says, thy name is my healing. But then she wrote all the other attributes of God,
Remedy,
like hope, companion. Yeah.
Could you read the one on the right to me, please? Just read it
it is actually part of the middle obligatory prayer.
Okay.
And it says, I love it. Sorry, I get emotional.
That's all right.
It says, Ya Ilahi, la tukhayyib man tashabbasa bi'an'am al-raja bi'azyal rahmatika wa fazlika ya ilah Alami, which means, oh my God, do not disappoint the one who has clinged to the hem of your garment, and treat her with your rahmat and fast, with your grace and bounty.
Wow.
Okay, here's some more. Another version of the peace square.
Yes.
And silence is an ocean. I love this one. Silence is an ocean. Speech is a river. When the ocean is searching for you, don't walk into the river. Listen to the ocean. Rumi.
Yeah, that's Andrea again.
Yeah, it's a great.
Wow, this is wonderful, folks.
Yeah. This one, I think this was home of the three different languages.
Yeah.
Spanish and English.
Tu nombre es mi corazón, oh mi Dios. Y es mi remedio.
And this one, I think this may be the last one too up here. Armed with the power of thy name, nothing can ever hurt me, and thy love in my heart, with thy love in my heart, all the world's afflictions can no wise harm me. Baha'u'llah. Friend, physician, thou the healing, I call on thee.
The hand is actually Bree's hand, her own hand. She drew it, and then we had lots of fun doing this for a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of the devotional you had, I think, wasn't it, Nasreen?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good, that's why I was encouraging people to do it that way. Yeah. So that's the little tag on it that she saw, and then this is the whole prayer. If you get parts of it in there, that's where a lot of this was drawn from. So that's
wow, that's so special.
This beautiful quilt.
So we will
It
get
is.
one.
Prayers.
Make arrangements to come out sometime when you and Gail are at home, and I will make sure you have your quilt.
Oh, well, I'm out almost all the time, but we'll figure something.
Okay.
We're actually home most of the time.
Okay, well, I'll give you a call, then we'll see. Yeah, maybe next week come out then. Yeah. And I thank this is a community project. I mean, I kind of pulled it together, but this was contributions by so many members and friends in the community. It's what made it happen.
Nice.
Hopefully we can keep doing these and you make other ones for people who may need them as well.
Wow, that was beautiful.
That is beautiful. Yeah.
And actually, thanks to Dottie for thinking of this project to bring the community together in prayers. So thank you, Dottie.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dottie, so much.
It was fun, and I hope we can keep doing it because it's
yes.
It was very staunch.
Very
and
staunch.
uplifting.
Yeah, it was very uplifting. I'm not sure what you mean by staunch exactly, Solange, but anyway, I try to be staunch in the faith.
Okay. Well, I don't know if there's other stuff that people wanted to say or do. No?
Wow.
I guess these guys want to say good night. My mom, I gotta take her home.
Yeah.
It's nice to see you, Nasreen.
Thank
Good
you.
night, Fafa.
Good night, Papa.
It's nice to see you, Mina.
Yeah.
Yes,
Can you hear me,
ma'am.
Mina?
It was so good to see you, Solange.
See you, girl.
Yes. I guess I
Good to see you, Solange.
yeah, I
Sorry,
told
George.
Solange that I was probably good for an and that's about where we are. So yeah,
Mhm.
so good.
Thank you so much.
friends.
I can't
My
wait to see
gosh.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for sharing, George. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
It's great to
You're
see
very,
you,
very
Ann and
welcome.
Micah.
Thank you all
Bye.
for doing this.
Bye.
Khuda Hafiz,
Bye,
Hi,
everyone.
Julia.
Bye.
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 Hi, Julia.
Khuda
Amelia.
Bye, Solange.
Night, Woody.
Okay.
Have to go.
Good night,
Everybody's
Nicole. Thank you so much for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. It looked like you were